and go change the scene. Okay, chapter 4, loops. Loops are a programmer's best friend. Loops allow us to do the same operation multiple times without having to write it explicitly each time. I was watching a streamer recently who talked about, CockroachDB, and talked about it's a database that's implemented in Go, and on the query side, when you're querying things, any code that gets executed for each row is going to be executed potentially millions of times. So even the tiniest bit of not automation, what's the word? Improvement in efficiency matters a million times over. So that's just a side note about loops. So, for example, let's pretend I want to print the numbers 0 through 9. I could do this. Console.log 0, console.log 1, console.log 2, okay, I won't read all of them. All the way down to console.log 8 and console.log 9. Even so, like, it would work this way, however, it would save me a lot of time typing to use a loop, especially if I wanted to do the same thing 1,000 or 1,000,000 times. A for loop in JavaScript is written like this. Okay, that's the assignment. So let's go here. For paren let I equal 0, semicolon, I less than 10, semicolon, I plus plus end paren, brace, console.log paren I. And the course is going to break down what each of these things mean. Start with I equals 0. That's the let I equals 0. If I is not less than 10, exit the loop. The converse way of saying that is, if I is less than 10, keep going with the loop. And add 1 to I. That's I plus plus. Remember plus plus from a few videos ago, or a few chapters ago, or a few exercises ago, or depends on how I end up packaging this, I guess. Go back to step 2. And to review, step 2 was this: if I is not less than 10, exit the loop. The result of all this is that the numbers 0 through 9 are logged to the console in order. What's the assignment? Complete the missing sections of the for loop so that it logs the numbers 0 through 99 to the console. The first thing I'm going to do is put in the 0 through 10 and just convince ourselves that that works. Then I'm going to reset code, confirm. Anyone in chat want to speak up on what I should write in here? Oh, let's this timer is almost done. Once it's done, I'll turn it over into keeping track of the next section. So the we want the numbers 0 through 99. So I'm going to make a mistake here. I'm going to say I less than 99. And then let's move on to the last part. What do we want to do? We want the numbers 0 through 99. So we can use I plus plus. And let's just run that. Oops, try again. What went wrong? Well, I said I is less than 99. It's only going to execute line 2 if this condition evaluates to true. When we get to I is 99, it will evaluate 99 less than 99, which will come out to false, and then it'll say, okay, we're done, time to exit the loop. So I actually, in order to print the numbers 0 through 99, I have to say less than 100. Run code. Okay, gives me correct, good job. And there's my timer ready to flip over. Moving forward. loops. Okay, this is the same information about for loops. Let's, for practice, type out the 0 through 9 for loop again. Oh, actually, let's look at the assignment first. Write a for loop from scratch that belongs to the numbers 0 to 199 to the console. Okay. For paren let I equals 0. So we're starting at 0. A semicolon to say we're done with that part. We'll say the condition is as long as I is less than 200, we keep going. And every time we increment I by 1, so I plus plus. And the rest is just braces, yeah. And console.log I. Right, great job. Let's show that typing job one more time. Just it's good to review. For let I equals 0, we start with I equals 0. I less than 10. Oops, 200. We're going from 0 to 199. And I plus plus, we're pushing I up by 1 each time. Console.log I. Try that again. Correct, great job. Good. Assignment, edit the for loop to print the numbers 5 through 15 instead. So we already have the loop set up to give us 1 through 10, but we're starting at 5. We want to go up to 15, so I could write 16 here, or I could remember from the conditionals in the past section that maybe I can write I less than or equal to 15. How does that work? Yep, that prints the numbers 5 to 15. Inclusive of 15. That's what the I less than or equal to 15 does here. Loop review. We already did that. Why is this highlighted? Possibly because I already answered this question. Why would you want to use a loop? Because the computer understands loops better than repetitive code. Well, that doesn't really come across. The computer doesn't really understand one any more than the other. Another option is because loops speed up your app. If anything, loops can slow things down because it's an easy way to write, making your app do something over and over again. But the correct answer is to do the same thing over and over without writing the same code. Goes back to our example, right? At the beginning, the course wrote console.log 0, console.log 1, console.log, and so on and so on. The loop lets us just console.log I, and the let I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus takes care of the running that code over and over again. Okay, on to exercise 5. Okay, looking at the code on the left, it says, why does the code on the left print 0 to 99 and not 0 to 1000? And let's, even though I've already answered this one apparently, with the answer, because console.log I only happens while I is less than, not equal to 1000. It says, the other options include because console.log only happens while I is greater than or equal to 1000. Well, that's not the condition that's written here. Another option was because console.log only happens while I is greater than not equal to 1000. Again, that's not the condition shown here. And another possibility, because console.log only happens while I is less than or equal to 1000. Again, not the condition that we have here. Let's go on to loops continued. We can generalize the structure of a for loop as follows. For init, condition, post. Init runs at the beginning of a loop. Here we typically initialize a variable for use within the loop. Conventionally, this variable is simply called I for simplicity. Simply called I for simplicity. I kind of like that. Condition is the run before each iteration of the loop. If the condition evaluates to true, then the loop body is executed. Otherwise, the loop is broken and ends. Post is evaluated at the end of each iteration. This is typically used to modify the value of a variable. Another example that prints 0 through 99 ascending. For paren let I equal 0 semicolon I less than 100 semicolon I plus plus paren brace console.log paren I and the closers. Assignment. Use the decrement operator instead of the increment operator to write a for loop that prints all the numbers from 9 down to 0. Okay, so following the example here, we start with 4. We have let I, we're going to start at 9. Let's say I greater than or equal to 0. Let's say I minus minus. And we need to print it. Console.log of I. Run that. Correct, great job. Loops practice. We can use if statements within a loop, and we can also name the iterator variable, normally I, to whatever we want. Assignment. I wrote a loop for you that increments the age variable from 0 to 74. So we start at 0, we go as long as it's less than 75, and we increment by 1. In the body of the for loop, if age is less than 8, your code should print, you qualify for free meals, you are blank years old. This is going to be console, console.log of that, and I don't think we've done string formatting yet, so I'm just going to do string concatenation. So what have I done here? I have console.log. Can I move this to the side? Yeah, let's do that. Console.log, you qualify for free meals. You are plus age plus years old. Except I need we need an if statement. So what's that going to look like? That's going to look like if condition, close paren, brace, and in here, do something. What's the something we're going to do? That's just this print statement that I've already written. So let's put that in place. And what's the condition? If age is less than 8. So age less than 8. And then we can say else if age greater than 65. We have another console.log. You qualify for retirement. You are blank plus age plus quote years old. Underscore should be the current value of the age variable. Let's run that. Oh, interesting. It prints out all of these. Only 0 through 7 and 66 through 74. Yeah, because age is less than 75. Okay, continuing on. Exercise 8 of 9. Sum game. Similar to the increment plus plus and decrement minus minus operators, the plus equal and minus equal operators can be used to increment or decrement a variable by a number other than 1. So for an example here, we have let number of enemies equal 10, number of enemies plus equals 2, and number of enemies is then 12. That's just kind of the same as if we had done number of enemies equals number of enemies plus 2. It's not just kind of the same, it's the same outcome, exactly. Okay, let number of enemies equal 10, and number of enemies minus equal 2, then you have number of enemies is 8. The course goes on and says, let number of enemies equal number of enemies plus 2 is the same as number of enemies plus equals 2. Assignment, fix the bug in the program. Instead of adding 1 to sum at each iteration of the loop, it should add I. For example, instead of 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus... Okay, that's enough. We want 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 ... So instead of sum plus plus, let's say sum plus equals I. And again, that's the same as writing sum equals sum plus I. TV Josh says hello. TV Josh asks, you're doing Boot.dev for $29 a month? Well, actually, I took part in a Boot.dev hackathon, and I am doing Boot.dev for free because I won the hackathon. TV Josh says nice. Thank you, TV Josh. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna run another hackathon like that sometime soon. Yeah, I won a year of it, so I'm taking advantage of that while I can. Let's see, where were we? Did I finish this one? Yeah, correct, great job. Okay, we can move forward. Sum game 2. Write a program that sums all the numbers from 0 to 99, but skips even numbers. Start your loop at a different number and increment your for loop by 2 instead of 1 at each iteration. I was all getting ready to write another if condition, you know, like if number is even, sum plus equals I, but there's a different way to do this. Oh, skips even numbers. So we want to check if it's odd. So if we start at 1 and say I plus equals 2, that should get the job done. Huh, interesting, the number is 2500. I feel like that's not a coincidence. Right? Because if we did the numbers 0 through 100, I've seen this proof elsewhere. You can like 0, 1, 2, 3, ... TV Josh asks, you know the closed form formula? No, I don't know that. And but if we go 99, 98, etc. down to 0. TV Josh says n times n plus 1 over 2. If we add all these, okay, n times, here I'll write it out. Times n times paren n plus 1 divided by 2. Divided by 2. Let me think about this one. If we have the numbers 0 to 100, this whole thing equals 100 times 100, is that right? Except maybe we need something tells me we have to do 101 here. And then it equals 1010, and then we divide that by 2. 1010 divided by 2 is 50/50. No, but that doesn't come out to 2500 either. Okay, I'm gonna stop pretending I know what I'm talking about here. TV Josh, tell me about this n times n plus 1 over 2. Is that saying that the sum from... Let's do this with... Do it for 1 to 10. I plus equals 1. Console.log sum, and that's also console.log 10 times 10 plus 1 divided by 2. And comment out this line. Yeah, 55. Let and equal, let's try it at 25. Yeah, it works for 25, works for 10. I'm sure it would work for any other number I tried. But let's go back to doing what this thing is supposed to be happening. One to 99 plus with plus equals 2. Okay, that's that.